different vibe today. I actually have a guest live and in person. I'm in Atlanta with my buddy, Jody, the Soldier Mom Martin. Jody and I met last year at the Children's Author Summit, and I'm here tonight because tomorrow we're heading up to Nashville to this year's Children's Author Summit. And I am so excited to be just in the world of children authors all weekend long. Well, when you see this episode, it's going to be over. So look at all the shorts and all the other stuff on my channels, on my Facebook page, and you can see all the authors that I'm going to meet this weekend. But right now, I'm here with my special friend Jody with Sparkle Feathers. Sparkle Feathers, why don't you just sit here? And I would like Jody to introduce herself because we're both Army girls. Well, she wasn't in the Navy. I won't hold that against her, but we're both Army girls too. So, so Jody, why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, so as Francine said, you would have thought we've known each other for like a long time.
Forever, right?
But literally, this time last year, we both, was that your first time too?
That was my first time too.
Okay, so we were very brand new to this Talk Author Summit in Nashville, and I had no idea what to expect.
Neither did
None. At the time, I think I had 2 books. Maybe?
I had 1.
2 books. Anyway, I just took a step of faith, went to this Talk Summit, and met Francine, met several people that we are now all connected and really close as far as like we're all supporting each other through our whole author journey. So I just want to say, if you want to be an author or whatever you want to dream to be, just keep going at it. You're going to meet fantastic people like you.
Oh yeah.
Who help us get through the things that we need to get through and teach us. But anyway, back to me. Let's talk about me for a minute. As she said, my name is Jody Martin. I am also known as, or better known as, the Soldier Mom. And that title comes from the fact that I spent 30 years in the Army. Well, the Army Reserve. I spent about half that time on active duty through all the Iraq and Afghanistan and all the things. I speak from a point of view of being a mother, being a soldier, and being an educator. So you get a lot of points of view from me. So am I full of opinions? Yes. But it's always for our kids, it's for our families, and of course I always talk from a point of view of being a military member. So I hope you bear with me when I talk about how important our military is and service and all the things that come with that. One of the things that I talk a lot about is character, and one of the things that Army, well, the military in general, but I can speak on behalf of the Army side, teaches us is about our character and our values and why that's important to have those things throughout the different missions that we have to do. And so that is how we got here today.
That's it. And now tell them about Soldier Mom and why I love it. I think I've read them all. If I haven't, I need to go get the ones I haven't read. But why is it so important to you to write these? Why do you think kids need to understand this so much?
Well, we got to go back to my first book, Soldier Mom, that started it all. I, being an Army Reserve officer, our reserve members are not always at bases, right? Where they have access to all the active duty kinds of things, where they have access to family support when somebody deploys. They do not have access. So I was one of those people. I lived in a very small town. I had 2 kiddos on my first deployment. They were 9 and not even quite 3, barely 9 and almost 3 on my first real long deployment away from them. And we lived in a small town. And so it was not that my town did not rally around them. They did. They loved them. They did everything that they could do. But my kids didn't have anybody that was going through the same thing. They didn't have another family they could look to and go, oh, you can make it through these hard times. You can make it through a Christmas without a parent. You can make it through a birthday. You can make it through soccer championships. And that's what made me write my original book, because I wanted to showcase that a soldier mom is just a mom. We happen to wear a uniform too.
And you happen to go away for long periods of time.
So
yeah.
that is addressed throughout that book, and for a point of view for a kiddo, not as an adult. So what do kids see? How do they go through this? And so that was the first book. And then I was inspired to write about military things. Memorial Day, Veterans Day. Oh, and by the way, I think I've said this before. Did you know that most Americans, there was a whole poll, only 28% of Americans knew the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
I believe it.
And I think that's why it was so important for me to write 2 different books about what's Memorial Day and what's Veterans Day. Again, kids' books, a very high-level topic. How do we break that down for kids without it being scary?
Just in case anyone watching, and we do have an international audience, so why don't you break it down? Tell everybody the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Okay, so most other countries, anybody who's been in a war probably has something like a Memorial Day, a Remembrance Day, which is what it actually started out as way back in the day. Memorial Day is for us to honor those who gave their full sacrifice. They died during service to their country. So that is the memorial. We're memorializing those people that gave everything for freedom. Veterans Day, on the other hand, is for people who have served, like myself, Francine, the guys and gals wearing their hats out and about. And so that's usually the people you say, thank you for your service to. And I know you're asking me, well, what about the people who are on active duty right now? Because I'm retired, you're retired.
Yes.
We're considered veterans because we're retired. So what about the people serving on active duty right now? Well, there's actually a day for them. It's called Armed Forces Day. And so it still doesn't matter. Listen, if you want to find somebody who has a uniform on and thank them for their service because it's Veterans Day, please feel free.
Well,
it's not, nobody's going to get mad at you.
And there's something else I have to talk about, because when we go out and my husband and I go shopping, we get discounts, and they always thank him. One day I got mad, and I just said, "Hey, I'm the veteran." And then he looked at me and he said, "I served in Vietnam." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. He served 4 years. He's still a veteran."
Yes. We're just long-term veterans.
We're just long term.
Yeah, we're long in the tooth.
As they say, he's a little longer in the tooth than I am.
As far as age goes, but service-wise, yeah, we got that. But I agree. I will say, Francine, and you probably get this sometimes too, through our social media, through our interactions with people on the street, if you will, and we talk about veterans kinds of things because we both have a military background. Now, I also have the initial pleasure of also being a Navy brat. My dad was in the Navy. So we're kind of kindred in the sense.
I was the one in the Navy in my family, but yeah.
But anyway, so I saw it on one side as a kid growing up, and I saw it as an adult having kids going through it. So, but with that said, I didn't think anything about my dad getting told, "Hey, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." And I'm going to tell you this story. So I live near my dad, and we go out in public, go to dinner, go to the show, whatever, quite often. My dad wears his veteran's hat, and I usually don't because I don't want to mess up my hair. But they're always like, "Thank you for your service." And I'm like, okay. I just let it go because it's my dad. I love my dad. He served 20 plus years as well. But when we're out, I find it funny because my dad will go, "She served too, and she's a colonel." Because my dad was a chief when he retired. So he is as proud of my service as I am, but he gets mad when people don't recognize my service. And that happened a lot throughout my career, unless they saw me in uniform. They thought I was the spouse and not that service member.
Well, what was funny is my dad only understood Army. So when I was in the Navy and I was a petty officer second class, he always called me sergeant. So when I decided to go back in, I went in the Army so we could finally be right.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, that was one of the reasons. I like those big helicopters on the side of the road.
Yeah.
They were pretty cool.
They're pretty cool, especially when they fly over your house. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Something about that woof, 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 woof when it comes. But you know what's funny? You say that, but my dad being in the Navy, me being in the Army, we talk ranks as opposed to what we call it. Right now, you know as well as I do. You spend enough time in the service, you understand the ranks are called different things in the different services. Right. Some are the same, many are different.
Oh, I remember the first time I called an Army lieutenant captain. No, I called an Army captain lieutenant.
Because that's what's in the Navy.
That was in the Navy.
The two bar, the railroad.
But he didn't like that very much.
No, I get it, because you were demoting him.
Right.
But yes, because the ranks look the same or very similar.
Right.
They just have different names.
Right.
Confusing.
So,
So my dad and I related on, we just call it rank E7, O2, whatever. Now, he does call me Colonel. That is what do they call it? It's a captain. It's a captain in the Navy, right? An 06 is a captain. Where a captain for us is an 03. Isn't that awesome?
It's weird.
Yeah. I'll tell you this one story. So the first time I was deployed was back in 2004, 2005-ish is when this incident happened. So I was working for CENTCOM, and I happened to be at the forward element in Qatar. I'm not telling any secrets. It's fine. No off-conus at this point. So anyway, I make a call. I am an 03 Captain Army. I call to CENTCOM in the States, and I'm like, hey, this is Captain Martin. I need blah, 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 blah. The person on the other end, a major who outranks me, is like, yes, ma'am, we'll get that to you right away. They thought I was a Navy captain. Now, did I correct them?
Nah.
And no, because I wanted the thing done. But this is what happens when you work in a joint environment where you know people from different services, and it's almost kind of fun. But yeah, we're different, but we're the same.
Different but the same. Yeah, I like that. Different but the same. We're all military. We're all Americans.
Yeah, we're all green or something.
No, Navy's kind of blue.
Okay, we're all camouflage?
No, well...
Yeah, you got the weird tiger stripey blue thing, whatever. You do have the Marines kind of that get on the boat, so how about you got green? I'm just saying. I love our Marines.
Anyways, let's get back to children's.
Children's books. We digress.
Yes. Sorry when you get two military people together. But let's get back to what this all means for the kids.
Yeah.
We both had a lot of experience in leadership through the military. And we want to help parents instill these values in their kids so we could grow the next generation of leaders. Let's talk about values, because your newest book series is all about values.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, loyalty's on top. Tell us about loyalty.
Well, just take a beat for a second. So many of the armed services, and I would say a lot of places, but I'm talking from a point of view of being a veteran, right? And how I learned values or were instilled in me that helped me be successful in my different missions. And honestly, in my entire life. So in the Army, they have an acronym that spells the word leadership. Does it spell it exactly? No, it's called an acronym for a purpose. For a reason. It's LDRSHIP. And each of those 7 letters spell out a value. So L, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Loyalty. So I have a book for each of those characters. Those are all very hefty ideas, right? How do you explain? First of all, I don't even know that adults can really explain what loyalty means, what duty means, what does respect mean. You hear these words all the time, but what does it really mean in our daily lives, right? In this case, I took the Army acronym, which I didn't conceive of, but I took it and I'm breaking it down to kid-sized bite elements. And in the book, each book shows the kid's point of view. What does loyalty look like in this case? Loyalty look like in their everyday life? School, home, helping in the community. What does it look like at home with your siblings? And if you have siblings, you know character does not always show its face all the time. So I'm not saying these children are perfect. What I am saying is they're showcasing some ways that the kids can identify themselves within these books. And maybe they're already doing these things. Maybe they're seeing themselves and going, hey, I did that.
Why don't you give an example of
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So the first thing we do is we talk about what the definition of loyalty is by Army standards, right? And then we kind of break it down into civilian language.
How that fits into a kid's life.
Right. So let's just say this one for example. Loyalty in Army standards: bear true faith and allegiance to the United States Constitution, the Army, your unit, and other soldiers. Bearing true faith and allegiance is a matter of believing in and devoting yourself to something or someone. Okay, it's a pretty big idea. And then we break it down and we start giving examples. In one example, I love this. So we're following this one character around, right? Layla. Notice her name starts with the same letter as the book.
Ooh,
Loyalty has Layla. And Layla is showing us different ways that she has seen in her daily life of how she shows loyalty to her friends, to her teachers, to her parents, whatever that may be. And in this case, the teacher, Miss Shields, who is an Army Reserve officer, also an educator, like moi. How can we see loyalty values every day? She asked the class. And so the class starts thinking about ways that they've seen loyalty based on the definition that they just went through. And in this case, we see Layla helping one of her student peer friends in her class. We can see it in action when upholding the Army values like helping others, showing support for our teammates, classmates, or at work. You know, because some kids, teenagers work, right?
Right.
And so you see kids helping in the lunchroom, cleaning up trash behind others, right? One of the things is taking care of your community. That's a way to show loyalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then there's a picture of several of her classmates helping out as a volunteer during a disaster. So all these things our kids see and participate in, and we showcase that for them. The great thing about this is not only are we learning about character and values and how we see that every day, I made it a little fun, and I have some hidden images throughout the book. Every book has hidden images. Well, first of all, there's always flamingos in my book.
I was just going to ask.
There's always flamingos in my book. But in this case, I also have additional images, and I'm just going to show you this book. Wherever it is. And it shows, can you find all these hidden images? And the flamingo is always the hardest to find. In here, you also, parents, teachers, there are vocabulary. Listen, I know your kids are going, oh, vocabulary, ew, gross. But this is how you become a good speaker and can tell people how you feel. And then there's always resources that you can go to further learn. So each of the books are really set up like this. Classroom environment, but they get to see some of the things that the kids do throughout their day or their week.
This was a #1 bestseller.
I still feel the little flutter of when it went #1. And I want to say I could not have done it without readers like yourself. But this book, being that it's honor, really meant a lot to me. Because being a service member, we honor so much silently that we forget that we're doing it. It almost just becomes part of who we are. We're honoring our family. We're honoring our heritage. We're honoring our country. We're honoring our community. The list goes on and on. And this book really talks about that. And my character here goes through and just talks about how honor looks in his life, right? Look, baseball game. How do you behave at a baseball game? And in this case, it's a parent yelling at an ump because they didn't like the call that the ump made. But the other
Parents don't do that.
No, parents don't do that at all. Listen, parents aren't perfect, but what you see is other parents going, "Hey, listen, not appropriate," but they're standing up and they're saying the right things for the right reasons, right? They're honoring and respecting the rules, right? And so that's how this goes through, and you're seeing it from the kid's point of view. And it's kind of cool. Anyway, H is Henry. Henry's pretty cool. And I also will say this. I'm going to throw this out there. So all 7 books are all on Amazon. If you would like to go out there, they all have hidden images. They all have vocabulary. They all have resources. And if you go to my website, I will send you a parent packet for loyalty.
What's in it?
It has activities and resources for parents, families, homeschool, whatever you want to use it for. Just kind of a way to get at what the story is about and get your kids' point of view. What does loyalty look like to them? Maybe it looks completely different.
Because there really is no right or wrong answer.
Not really.
No.
If they understand the concept, then as they grow older, that's going to develop and deepen. The understanding becomes bigger and more rich.
Well, if you think about it, what's the grade level for these books?
I would say 3rd grade through 5th grade is the primary. However, because some of the subjects, you could definitely go 6th grade. And if you have a really astute 2nd grader, go for it. They can, as a parent, you could read this to them. As a teacher, you could read this to them. You could walk them through it. Absolutely.
So for a 2nd grader, loyalty may be your friend Jane plays with you in the playground every day during recess, and then over here Susie asks you to come play with them, but they don't want Jane to come too. So you stay loyal to Jane and tell them, no thank you, I'm going to keep playing with Jane. That's a 2nd grader's idea of loyalty.
Yeah.
So, and then with each grade, these books will help them grow into the more mature meaning.
And each grade level, you could read the book Loyalty in grade 2, and then again in grade 3, and then again in grade 4.
Get something else out of it.
Right. It's just like when I say I haven't watched a certain movie, let's say, or even a book. Yeah, I read another book lately that I hadn't read since high school, and I see it completely different. Is it the same book? Is it the same words? Is it the same author? Absolutely.
But you're not the same.
I'm not the same, and so neither are your kids. So there you go. And so I just really believe the time is perfect right now for our kids to be learning about values. I think for a while that was really kind of pulled out of our school systems. It wasn't an important thing. Let's do math and science, and all that's important. But so are these, because this is your day-to-day living, right? How do you make choices? How do you go about making sure somebody's taken care of? How do you take care of your community? How do you make sure, all those things? That's everything.
How do we grow tomorrow's leaders?
The next generation of leaders.
The next generation
and
of
I talk
leaders.
about that all the time, the next generation of leaders. And listen, as a parent, I have 2 grown kids. And was I a perfect parent? Absolutely not. Would I have adored these books? Absolutely.
You wrote them because you wish your kids had them.
Right. And as an educator, I saw kids struggling with these concepts. And you see it on the recess field where they kind of have free play, and they should have free play. But they have these dynamics that they're not sure how to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
This introduces that, and you get conversations out of it. Mom, I was, like the baseball game thing I was talking about. What if maybe they were at practice one day and something happened and the kid wasn't sure how to handle it? So then you're reading this book and your kiddo says, hey, Johnny at practice was doing so and so and so. And it wasn't a bad thing, but he's talking through it like it already happened. And it sparks that conversation with a parent and a child, and it helps the child hear what he's saying, learning from his experience, but also being able to go, okay, next time
I know what to do.
I could do this.
Right.
Now, listen, book learning I love reading, but book learning is only as important as you make it, right? That's why I included the resources. You can do some deeper learning. That's why I have activities that you can do. Because you can read this, but unless you have a way to tie it to a scenario, real life, and that's why I like these, because the scenarios I got from my own kids living their life and things that they went through, as an educator seeing these things unfold during the school day, and other parents, quite frankly, telling me different stories, funny sometimes, about things that their kids went through and how they learned from it. So these are usually 100% true stories. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. But so I say all that. These are important things, but I also made it fun, because if you don't make education fun,
who's going to pay attention?
Yeah.
And you learn more when you're having fun.
That's right.
So here's a good chance to take a little break and mention how you could find Jody.
So lots of ways. Let's start with the website, jodyauthormartin.com. Pretty easy.
Jodi. I spelled it wrong once. It's Jodi.
It's Jodi.
I.
It's all about I. Just like it's spelled on my book. Jody author jodymartin.com. You can also find me on YouTube at Soldier Mom 95, because that's when I became a mom. And then, of course, all across social media, Soldier Mom or Jody Martin Author.
And Amazon.
Amazon. That place.
Yep, and Amazon.
And Amazon, you can find all these books. And quite frankly, let's say you might not want to buy a paperback right now. Funds are tight. I get that. All the books right now, except for my most recent one, and I'll talk about that in a minute, $1.99 on Kindle. You say, but I don't have a Kindle.
You can read it on your computer.
You can read it on your computer or the Kindle app that you can
Yes.
download on your iPad or your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So easy peasy. You could try it out. It has all the same material, all the same pictures, everything's the same, except for you're not holding it in your hand. And then if you want it in paperback, you can purchase it. But I would just love for you to have it in your hands. So I'm not worried about the price that you pay, $1.99, I think I said it was. Now my newest one for the month of July is 99 cents. So try it out. 99 cents.
99 cents. And leave a review, please.
Oh,
This is a public service announcement. All authors love reviews,
yeah.
because that tells us how we're doing. If you leave a review and let us know you loved it, great. I'm going to keep doing more of that. If you write a review and say you had a typo in your book, well, I'm going to get it fixed.
And
But
that has happened.
it has happened, yes. Or if you say, I wish you had done something a little differently, please let us know, because it might be something we never considered doing that we can.
Mm-hmm.
If there's subject matter you'd like to see our characters do, let us know. You never know, it might happen.
Yeah, might happen. I do it on my YouTube all the time. People leave me, hey, can you go look at this hero? Can you go look at that hero? Heck yeah.
Talk about that YouTube. What do you do on your
Oh
YouTube?
yeah, so YouTube for me is new. And the reason I say that is because, YouTube is a big undertaking,
Yes.
But I have learned so much, not only from you, but our other authors that are on Author Unite, through our publisher, Ken Rochon. And so I decided to take another step out on faith and do this. So I believe the channel is really only about 4 months old. But
That's a baby.
it is a baby. But we're already getting some really good reviews. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm doing a drop every week on Thursdays, a topic that is important for all of us. But once a month, I have a series called Forged in America, and I spotlight American heroes. Some you may know, some you may not. And so my first 2 of those have dropped, and I'm not going to tell you who the first one was because it's a surprise. But the second, but you have to go out there and take a look at it. Soldier Mom 95. It's really good, and they're usually only like 6 to 8 minutes long. I wanted to keep it to a length that you can watch with your kids, you can watch by yourself, you can use it in the classroom, you can use it as a teaching tool, whatever you want. But they're short clips about people that have been important and basically forged by America. They help shape America to who we are.
I love that concept. Everybody check it out. Jody Martin 95.
No, Soldier Mom.
Soldier Mom 95.
You can still find it by going Jody Martin. It's fine. But the actual channel is Jody. Good Lord, you got me saying it. This is what happens. ADHD at its finest. I'm just saying. Soldier Mom 95.
I talk about something that's very special to me. It's just now starting brand new, the Sparkle Feathers Foundation. And I want to tell you why I started it. The Sparkle Feathers Foundation started when I looked into getting my books into the Dolly Parton Foundation program, where they give books away to kids who can't afford to buy their own books. And I learned they only have one publisher. All the books that Dolly Parton's Foundation gives away comes from one publisher. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they chose to do, and that's fine. But I represent a group of independent authors. And our books deserve to be given away to children too. So I started the Sparkle Feathers Foundation so we could raise the funds to give our books away to kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford books. And the group is Children's Authors Unite. Our website, children'sauthorsunite.com, is a place where you could go and find, we have 22 authors now. You could find our bios, you could read about our books, there's links to buy our books. You could just find some really good things to read with your kids, to give to your kids as gifts that you're not going to find at Barnes & Noble, you're not going to find at Walmart. These are books written by independent authors. Some of them aren't even on Amazon. These orders are fulfilled through their own personal websites. But you can find these authors with some great titles that really have heart, talk about kindness, and we have another veteran talking about different veteran topics. We have
And pickles.
Pickles, yeah, and Mark and his pickles. Nikolai Piccoli is a lot of how to research. He does a science project, how to do research and other really cool stuff.
We have people who are doing dinosaur digs.
Dinosaur dig. Oh, Helen's an archaeologist, and her
Yeah.
book's about a dinosaur dig. And then there's Rosemary and her book about Babs and kindness. And Sue, she's our newest author, just got her first book on Amazon, and it's also about kindness and traveling. So you can look at different cultures and see how people live around the world. And Stacy's all about curly hair. And if you have a kid with curly hair, she gives lessons on how to take care of your hair. I know if that was available 55 years ago, my mom would have bought the whole set, because when this thick old mess of curls was long, it was hard to take care of. Stacy, Frizz Girls are teaching kids how to love their curly hair. And don't forget, they're Sparkle Feathers teaching kids all about confidence at Camp Confidence.
He's so cute.
But there's so many more books that we haven't even mentioned. Check it out. Children'sAuthorsUnite.com, and check out Sparkle Feathers Foundation. We're going to be starting to raise funds, and our next event is August 29th, the last weekend of August, Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be streaming live 4 hours a day, both days, and we're going to be doing like a telethon kind of thing. We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have some fun and laughter. And we're hoping that you come and sponsor a book for a kid. If you want to know more about how you could sponsor a book for a kid who can't afford to have their own book, then drop something in the comments and let me know, and I will let you know as soon as I know, because we're still working out the details. It is that brand new. It's official 501c3 status, and now we're working out how to take donations. So think about it. If you know anybody giving out grants to people who giving books to kids, keep us in mind, please. At Sparkle Feathers Foundation and Children'sAuthorsUnite.com. And Soldier Mom
95.
Soldier Mom 95.
YouTube, and also across all the social media.
Yeah. Please, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is Parents Talk, where we talk about raising strong, confident kids today so we don't have to fix broken adults later.
Whew, wouldn't that be nice?
Right? And then subscribe. I sure would appreciate it. Bye.